Hi, I'm Tara Walpert Levy. I'm the Vice President of Agency and Media Solutions at Google, and I'm thrilled to be here at Cannes with the ARF.
Hi, I'm Mark Rappin, Chief Marketing Officer of the Advertising Research Foundation. So you've been with Google for 6 years. Before that, you were an adjunct professor at the Columbia Business School. How do you get from being a Columbia Business School professor to talking about 6-second ads?
Well, they were actually highly related. I was an adjunct professor while I was at Google, and the class was actually on digital media and marketing.
Oh, terrific.
So in fact, it was 6-second ads hadn't been invented yet, but the theme in terms of how do you keep up with the changes in consumer behavior and how are you an effective marketer in a digital and now mobile world was basically the focus of the class.
Right, and as you talk to clients and agencies, are they struggling with the shorter length, or are they finding solutions? What do you...
It's so interesting. So the origin of the 6-second ad was the trends that we were seeing in sort of how consumers were behaving on YouTube. And what we saw was particularly as YouTube became increasingly mobile, as has so much of the consumption, there were people and times, right, on-the-go moments when folks just wouldn't watch a longer ad, almost no matter how good it was. All right, we have to try this because this is what consumers are asking for, but like, wow, is 6 seconds long enough? And I was a little skeptical, but I have to say it's actually been amazing. It turns out 6 seconds is just short enough and just long enough. It's short enough that consumers will tolerate and even enjoy it, and it does turn out to be long enough to tell a story. So one of our biggest worries, candidly, since we're at Cannes, was the creative community and what would they think of 6-second ads. And it turns out, you know, creativity loves constraint, and they've loved it, and they've really embraced it, and we've seen thousands of advertisers launch these 6-second ad campaigns since we piloted the format last fall.
Terrific, terrific. And the other thing, moving from sort of the TV world to the YouTube world, your Brandcast event is like the TV up front.
Yes.
And as I was looking at it, there was a stat in there that I found very interesting that YouTube watching by 18 to 49-year-olds during primetime TV hours is actually higher than broadcast TV.
Yeah, it was really amazing. That was one of our big new claims this year, which again I think is just reinforcing the trend we've seen over several years, which is where viewership is going. And so YouTube watch time has been growing, you know, over 50% annually for the past several years. The mobile viewership is growing tremendously, and we're frankly seeing diversification where millennials will always, I think, be the sweet spot, but we're seeing a much broader range. You know, that stat was true for 18 to 49, which is pretty amazing.
Pretty amazing.
You know, one of the other things that I think is interesting is the diversity of talent on YouTube and the emphasis on social good and authenticity that they bring to the table. I think has been very sort of consistent with a lot of where we want to go as an industry, and so we're very proud of that.
I'm going to switch gears a little bit here from talking about just work, and one of the fastest growing communities within the ARF family is our Women in Analytics group. What advice would you have for women in the business and research community?
Overall, I think one of my macro messages would be you have a lot more power than you think. So a lot of women come to me with very specific circumstances of essentially lack of confidence in whatever particular role they're being asked to do or where they want to go, or compromises in their personal life they think that are being asked of them that you know, they're not sure that they want to make, things like that. And my advice has been pretty steady to all of them, which is, you know, be passionate and good enough at what you do that people are willing to flex for you, and you'll be surprised how much they will.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's look a little bit to the future. So, if you open your crystal ball in the near term, I mean, not too far out in the future, what do you think are the big changes in dynamics that are going to affect YouTube and the video creative world?
Well, I think, and it's appropriate, I mean, we're at Cannes, I do think the focus is going to shift back very, very strongly sort of across the digital world, including YouTube, to creative. So if you think about it, I mean, we've still emphasized largely a media discussion to this point. I mean, creative has become more and more important, but it hasn't been, you know, it has not fully represented the 70% of campaign impact we know it drives. And I think people are now really cluing into that, especially as they have optimized a lot of media change. And on YouTube, we're seeing more and more adoption, for example, of YouTube analytics by creatives because they want to lean much more significantly into testing and optimization. And in part because I think they're getting much more comfortable with the opportunity that exists from more personalized ads, more context-relevant ads, and frankly having sort of a wide variety of ad content to play with than they have in the past. And so now that they've got it, one of it's almost addictive to be able to think about how do you make it better and better and better. And so I do think we will see that across the board.
Terrific. Well, thank you so much for spending time with us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. I'm
and
looking
enjoy
forward
the
to the
rest
year
of your
ahead.
festival.
Thanks, you too.
Take care.